Hi everybody, I'm High Priestess Autumn Phoenix and welcome to my broadcast tonight. Let me tell you where you can find me on my other social media platforms. Follow me on Facebook at Magically Blessed. Find me on Instagram at autumn_Phoenix1. Find me on Twitter at Priestess Autumn. Find me on YouTube at Autumn Phoenix. And find me here on Periscope at Autumn Phoenix. Tonight's broadcast is all about the witching hour that will actually be an hour from now at 12 a.m. to 5 a.m. When you hear of the witching hour, you probably think about witches, and that's true. A lot of witches do witchcraft between the hours of 12 a.m. and 5 a.m. because that's when it is most likely that they will not be disturbed. Nobody will walk in on them. Nobody will be calling or texting them and just bothering them, distracting them from their craft. Because, oh my God, when a witch gets distracted on their work, they have to start all over again. They can't pick up where they left off at. Especially if that witch has put so much time, money, and more importantly, energy into their spell or ritual or hex or curse. Witches don't have time to waste time. The witching hour is a phrase that is used in a whole lot of different ways. It may refer to the time of night when a baby gets fussy, or in the world of investing, it references the last hour of trading when things get highly volatile just before the market closes. For witches, the witching hour is the time of day when the veil between the living and the dead is at its thinnest. Now, when you hear that, you probably think about Samhain. Samhain is the witch's new year. That's when the veil between the living and the dead is at its thinnest. But that's also referred to when it comes to the witching hour. The veil becoming thin allows humanity a greater ability to sense the spiritual realm. It's easier to sense ancestors, angels, demons, ghosts, family members, and friends that have passed before you. It's easier to get in touch with the supernatural during the hours of 12 a.m. and 5 a.m. The witching hour comes from 1800s folklore, where it was used to reference the time of night most associated with supernatural events. And every moment, whether you're aware of it or not, there is so much activity happening just beyond that veil. It really is just a veil that separates the living and the dead. Just beyond that veil, physical perception in the realm of the spirit. You might be touched by spirits. You may see them. You may feel them. You might feel your ancestors trying to touch you, even though you can't touch them because they no longer have a physical body. You know, as witches, energy cannot be created and it cannot be destroyed. You can't touch them because they no longer have a body. But they can touch you because you're obviously still alive. And when witches do witchcraft during this time period, it's just so much more of a relaxed atmosphere. is so much more relaxed, and they can breathe easier. They can get more centered. They can get more grounded to do the spell work at hand. In addition to the idea that the veil is then during the hours of 12 a.m. and 5 a.m., there are a few more additional reasons why the spiritual activity is so high. It's so much more accessible. This is because this is a time where the majority of people are sleeping. This is literally less interference from the conscious mental activity of other people, and quite simply, it's quieter. You don't have outside noise distracting you, trying to get your attention. Because so many people are sleeping, it's also a time when electronic activity is decreased. So when you are less bombarded by electronic frequencies and your surroundings are naturally quieter and more peaceful, it becomes so much easier to sense the subtle energies of the spiritual realm. A very interesting phenomenon is that most people do regularly wake up at 3 a.m. right in the middle of the witching hour, because they become aware of we become aware of our thoughts and emotions, and we stabilize them. They're not all over the place. We return to a state of present moment awareness, being conscious of yourself in the here and now. Then you want to take a few deep breaths and consciously calling forth love and light all around you. So when you wake up around 3 a.m., that's the middle of the witching hour, you might see things out of the corner of your eye. You might hear things. You might be touched. During the witching hour, there's so much spiritual activity going on. If you've never experienced it before, or if you're like a sleeper that sleeps solid 8 to 12 hours, it's something that is extraordinary. You want to allow yourself to continue to consciously breathe and relax, remain open and willing to experience the love presence of higher guidance and whatever healing guidance or wisdom is available to you. That in this moment, you can become aware and consciously perceive whatever is in the room with you that night. Now, if you work closely with spirits anyway, you probably don't get a whole lot of sleep between 12 and 5 a.m. anyway. But if you're just like a regular person and have never seen a ghost or heard disembodied voices, then you will sleep soundly. You will not wake up. But I believe that everybody will experience some type of supernatural activity at least once in their life. They may not ever tell anybody, but everybody experiences it. Everybody. Because we as humans perceive things. We may not want to admit it because we don't want to be called crazy, but we all see it, whether we publicly admit it or not. So thank you for joining me on this broadcast. Let me tell you again where you can find me on social media. Find me on Facebook at Magically Blessed. Find me on Instagram at Autumn_Phoenix1. Find me on Twitter at Priestess Autumn. Find me on YouTube at Autumn Phoenix. And find me here on Periscope at Autumn Phoenix. Thank you everybody for joining me, and I will be speaking to you guys shortly. Bye everybody.